All right, folks, we are straight up at 6:30 and I believe in starting promptly. So without further ado, first off, I apologize for two things. I wish we'd have been able to do this introduction 4 weeks ago, but those are the breaks. My second apology is that I'm finishing up on your test grades, and I promise you I will not go to sleep tonight before I do. So my second apology, and hopefully that's all I'll have to apologize for today. Tomorrow's another day. So, my name is Dr. David Shows, pronounced like cows. I'm originally from Mississippi, grew up on the Gulf Coast. Got my PhD or my DBA, as they say, from Louisiana Tech. I have taught at four other different places. Briefly, just as I was passing through on my way finally here, because my 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 final destination was here. I'm married to Dr. Pia Albinson, who is also a professor of marketing at App State. So we have a happy little marketing family. I only know of like three other couples that are like us, that are in the same department, in the same profession. It's kind of a rare thing. We're very happy. We have an 11-year-old and a 9-year-old. So we are very much ensconced in Watauga County and very happy to be here. All right, so just to give you an idea of what we're going to go through in class tonight. First off, I'm going to ask you all to introduce yourself. I noticed already that many of you have already know each other, and that's very, very common. Individuals or such of yourself are called cohorts, and cohorts are those individuals that go through a shared experience. When you do marketing research, this stuff comes up all the time. But anyway, the shared experiences are going to be very valuable to you, and hopefully you're going to make associations and friends that will remain with you for your lifetime. During the class, I'm going to talk about the process and diffusion of innovation, because that will be important in discussion in the next couple of weeks as you plow through the next chapters. We're going to do a SWOT analysis, and we're going to do that in groups. So I will introduce you to your group members, and we're going to have a discussion of how you'll go about doing some of your casework. And then we'll talk about the importance of diagnosis and synthesis and how you use those to build your SWOTs. So let me start right away. I'm going to ask or ask one of you, or each one of you one at a time, to introduce yourself. I'm sure you've done it before. Give me your name. If you want to give your hometown, please do. If you are working, I would love to know where you're working. And then if you're a full-time student, I would like to know that. So let me start with Meredith. Meredith, would you introduce yourself?
Uh, yes. Hi, I am Meredith Hunt, and my hometown is Fairmont, North Carolina. This is currently my second semester at App State in the MBA program, and I currently work with the federal government. My office is out of Maryland, Rockville, Maryland, but I'm currently working remote.
Can I ask what part of the government are you working with?
Yes, so it's confidential in a sense, but
Rockville,
it's
Maryland.
up under the
Potential. I knew that. Just
it's up
so
under the Department of Health and Human Service.
okay. Yeah, I
Yeah.
just from where it is, again, I figured you couldn't tell me too much. But that's
Yes.
great. Well,
Thank you. It's recently a new position that I've just been praying for, and God, I'm telling you, God answers prayers. So I received this position last semester, or actually in December, but it's one of those positions where I applied like last January, and I interviewed like April or May of last year, and then literally was just selected in December. So it takes a long time with the federal government, but I'm just so thankful to be in.
awesome. Awesome. And this diploma going to take you more places, you hope?
Oh, absolutely. And it seems like everyone I work with, they have MBA behind their name. So I'm like, I'm gonna get there. I'm gonna get there.
So
So
for all of you, before I go on, just if you're wondering whether this MBA stuff is all worth it, I want you to remember this number, 800,000. That is the amount of income that a master student makes over an undergraduate over their lifetime. Okay, so just to let you know, you're in the right place. Kelsey, would you like to go ahead? I noticed you left something in the chat. Would you please go ahead? Kelsey, can you hear me? Okay, let's see. Apparently she's having problems. Kelsey, when you have a chance, just okay. Okay, she's having audio issues with her phone. That's fine. All right. Luke, if you would please, give me the 411.
Yes, sir. Hi, my name is Luke Towery. I'm a full-time student here at App State, and my hometown is Lincoln, North Carolina. And it's very much enjoying your class thus far.
Well,
This has
thank
been
you.
very fascinating.
Well, you know, this is a kind of a unique class in that, yes, I do got to give tests and stuff like that. But I only care one thing. I want you to be able to think. And so the things that I'm doing are hopefully going to give you some skills to be able to take things apart and put them together into coherent sequences. Ultimately, it's a skill I hope you can carry with you for your lifetime. So thank you, Lou.
Absolutely, sir. Thank
Adam,
you.
you're welcome. Adam, if you would please.
Yes, I'm Adam Harris. I'm from Ellenboro, North Carolina, which is a small town in Rutherford County. I work for Colonial Pipeline Company, based out of Charlotte. Their home office is in Alpharetta, and I'm sure most of you know or heard about the cyber attack a few years ago. So
Yeah.
that's what we're most popular for right now.
Well, it's funny. I was going to ask you that because you were topic A in my marketing channels class. And I talk a lot. I talk a lot about the infrastructure of oil and gas in the United States and just how short a flow of oil we really have in terms of days and hours across the United States. And yeah, I mean, hey, it wasn't your fault. Okay. So nobody's here blaming you, but glad you're here.
Yeah, a lot of people don't realize like I'm in Huntersville right now, and lines 1 and 2 run underneath, really right underneath my feet where I'm at right now. And
Yes.
every 17 minutes, there's 1 million gallons of fuel that passes under my feet. So
Yeah, I mean, my dad was in shipping. He was a pilot, a river pilot. And he talked about tankers. He said, yeah, but nothing beats pipelines for
yeah.
carrying. That's amazing. Carolyn Keith, is that right? Could you introduce yourself?
Hey, I'm Caroline Keith. I'm from Jefferson, North Carolina, so relatively very close. I went to undergrad here at App State, and I'm currently getting my MBA with a concentration in interdisciplinary business. I'm graduating this May. I'm super excited, ready to find a full-time job. And then I'm currently also a graduate assistant in business career services at App State.
Folks, if you don't know, business career systems can be your best friend. I want to say this, another reason why I love App is that, like I said, I've been at 4 or 5 other places, and I do not know of a university that works so hard and is dedicated for its students like App is, and especially out of business career services. So that's great. Where do you want to go? I'm kind of curious.
I am kind of keeping my options open, but probably somewhere like Charlotte, or possibly somewhere in Florida. I have family there, so I'm trying to kind of decipher what the best option for me would be.
Well, wonderful. Well, good luck and congratulations.
Thank you. Thank
Larry,
you.
I'm sorry. Larry, if you would, please.
Yeah, no problem. So Larry Yates, out of Hickory, North Carolina. I did complete my undergrad at Appalachian some time ago, I'm wanting to think about 12 years ago, 11, 12 years ago. So it's been a while. Had a very successful career, and I've essentially got to the plateau of my career, to where the additional education is going to be needed.
Yeah.
So I'm currently working with a company called McHugh out of Danvers, Massachusetts. They're a major safety company. And I have recently been promoted to the VP of Global Business Development. So primarily Amazon. So I've worked Amazon for about 8 or 9 years in various roles with different companies. And so my job now is sales and growing that account in all the markets that Amazon plans on penetrating as well.
That's awesome, man. Yeah, I mean, the non-traditional students, and I used to teach in Hickory, maybe 5 years ago when we had I love the Hickory students, the non-traditional ones. I mean, you're doing it the hard way, doing it work at night, and yeah, nothing but respect. Good for you.
Yeah, and 5 of those years was marketing. So I had to have a marketing campaign to deal with Amazon. So a lot of the stuff that we're learning from your class in a roundabout way, I've learned from sometimes
Right.
rough experiences. But what I'm coming to know is there's a terminology for a lot of the work I did that I wasn't aware of. Right. So that's what I'm learning is, okay, this is what I did. I can explain what I did, but I didn't know the actual fundamentals behind the terminology. So I think that's going to be a key aspect to your class, is just being able to speak upon the terms and the things I'm learning. So I'm
Well,
I'm looking forward to the class.
it's obvious then you were doing it right. Good for you.
Thank you.
Kelsey, I see you've fixed your mic issues. Would you like to go ahead and introduce yourself?
Yeah, sorry about that. Can you guys hear me now?
Yes.
Okay, fabulous. Sorry, I booked a vacation to Florida before I decided to start classes a semester early. So unfortunately, this is very bad timing. But yeah, so my name's Kelsey Parpart. I moved to Jefferson, North Carolina. So it sounds like I'm in good company here. Have fellow classmates in Jefferson. I moved to Jefferson, North Carolina in October of 2020. I moved there from Portland, Oregon. I'm from Seattle, Washington. Spent some time in Anchorage, Alaska, so a lot of time in the Pacific Northwest before I moved out to where I tell people I'm 15 minutes from a town of 1,500 people, so it's been a little bit of a lifestyle change. But I work remotely for a civil engineering firm. I've spent my entire career doing marketing, actually, for civil engineering. So reading in the early chapters about the challenges of kind of pricing service-based pricing services was really interesting. It was very validating to like see a professional textbook talk about the issues that I've had. It's a very niche industry, and I've never had any official training in marketing. I have a bachelor's degree in English and a master's degree in book publishing. And so I've never had I'm an editor and a writer, and just sort of fell into marketing. I do a lot of proposal writing, which is a lot of what we call marketing in the civil engineering world. So it was actually, like others, really interesting to learn about what marketing is supposed to be. And so this is my first class in the program. And so it's been really interesting. It's been really valuable already, and I can see that I have a lot to learn. But my goal is, so after 15 years in AEC marketing, I'm trying to move into more of an operations position. So my company is growing very rapidly, and so with rapid growth becomes the creation of new business processes and policies and standardization. And I work with a bunch of engineers who seem to be really terrible at business. So my goal is to be able to sort of move up from marketing into more of an operations role but I need that business acumen because nobody in our leadership team has any business experience. They're all licensed professional civil engineers, so it's kind of a unique position. So I'm excited if all of the classes are just good in terms of actually learning these basics of these pieces. I'm going to be in really good shape. So I'm excited.
That's awesome. Well, I mean, this is literally what the MBA program was all about, or why it was created. The MBA actually started in the mid-60s. Before that, you had masters of business, you had masters of marketing, masters of economics. But what they found, the MBA program originally came from Harvard. And what you would have is a middle or upper level engineer, sound familiar, who needed to be able to move up to senior management, but they didn't have the business acumen to be able to do it. And Harvard put together a master's of business administration. Now there's dozens of concentrations in the MBA, but in fact, it's taken over, and that is the exact purpose of an MBA. It's to build on to the experiences and knowledge that you already have now, and be able to use that in whatever way you wish to move up to a better place. So good for you. Caroline Hodges, could I ask you if you would?
Yep. Hi, everyone. I'm Caroline Hodges. I am currently working full-time and full-time student. I work as a provider engagement representative for Care Allies. So they're currently owned by Cigna, but there's actually been some news about them potentially selling to another group. You might have read it in the news. And so I work primarily with Cigna Medicare Advantage, directly with primary care offices. But I'm also getting my MHA, so I'm getting dual degrees.
Awesome. Wow. When will you be complete?
MHA should be finishing up in August, and then I'll be taking a fall semester off to get married. And then I'll be finishing my MBA.
Wow, that's awesome. The best of luck. It sounds great.
Thank you.
Deanna, would you introduce yourself, please?
So my name is Deanna Coster. I'm originally from Denver, Colorado. I went to the University of South Carolina, and now I live in Charlotte, North Carolina. So I've been all over the place. I work for Wells Fargo. I do control management for public affairs and diverse segments, representation, and inclusion. So essentially, you have a risk of getting in a car accident every day. Your control is that you drive the speed limit, you wear your seatbelt, you use your turn signal. I make sure that you're doing all three of those things and that you're doing them correctly. So yeah, I got my undergrad in marketing. So this was kind of my like, let me take a class that I think I won't do horrendous at for my first semester. So yeah, excited to be here.
Well, great. Congratulations. Where would you like to move up or go somewhere with this?
Yeah, so part of the reason why I had the job with public affairs, and why I expressed interest in there is so I was like, control management was not what I was going to do with my life. I like it, but I would love to use it kind of as a way to be like, look, I know the business and I have a risk mindset because Wells Fargo tends to have problems sometimes with their risk mindset. So I'm hoping that I can kind of use that as sort of a launching pad into the business.
That's cool. That's cool. Well, great. Thank you. Let's see. Robin Smith, is that right? Would you introduce yourself?
I'm Robin Smith. I'm from Wilmington, North Carolina, so I'm a little bit farther away from y'all. I'm all the way on the coast. And I work for the University of North Carolina, Wilmington. I currently work in the registrar's office as their front desk manager or their office manager. And so I do all of the purchasing, reconciling, business ordering. We get in large accounts from all the diplomas that we purchase, the transcripts that we purchase. So I balance all of those. But for the longest time, I worked in student affairs. So I was very student facing for almost 3 years. I was an advisor. I worked with their honors theses. But I just want to move more into business, especially because I would like to own my own businesses one day.
Excellent.
Yeah, so my partner's a thanatologist, which means that they're a death studies psychologist. They study death and dying. And we would love to open a funeral home that's more inclusive than traditional funeral homes. So we are interested in that. And then kind of not along the same line at all, I'd love to own a nail salon / coffee shop. So hopefully they're not together. That'd be a little bit weird to have a funeral home with a nail salon attached. But yeah, this is my second to last semester. I graduate in December and I'm going to Japan in May. So I'm really excited about that.
Congratulations. Are you using the whole UNC system that you can go to any of the universities?
Yeah, so if you work for a UNC system school, you get 3 credits or 3 classes per year waived, so you get them for free. I take an additional 3 classes a year just out of my own pocket. I wanted to go to App State instead of UNCW just because I felt it was more representative of my background and of my values than the Cameron School was, even though the Cameron School is amazing. So yeah, I pay 3 out of pocket and then 3 are waived.
That's awesome.
Really good deal. It's the best reason to work in higher ed. You don't get paid hardly anything.
Yeah, I have a friend of mine who's in auditing who's actually guiding one from UNC Wilmington. So it goes around, you know?
Yeah, there are people mishmashed and crisscrossed everywhere around us.
Carrie, if you would please introduce.
Carrie Bass. I'm from Statesville, North Carolina, so about an hour and a half drive from Boone. I actually have no experience in the business world. I've spent the last 13 or so years in the field of education, and really kind of before COVID, I wanted to pursue a master's degree, but I didn't really know if the education world was where I wanted to stay. And then after COVID, just things have changed a lot. And so I'm wanting to start a new chapter, use the skills, professional skills that I've developed, and learn business skills so that I can transition into a new career.
Huh. I was just thinking, if you learn to teach business, we got a job for you right now.
Well, maybe that's a possibility. I'm trying to figure out where my experience would best fit. Actually, I started in the MSADA program in the summer, and I'm working full-time still in the classroom. My goal is to try my best to get out and get some type of business experience and some kind of job this summer, going forward. But after 2 semesters in the MSADA program, I just kind of felt, my advisor also felt that maybe the skills that I have might be best suited for the MBA program, and I was able to still continue classes online, where the other program I was going to have to drive an hour and a half to come to in-person classes, which is not feasible. I have a daughter, she's a senior this year, so that's another kind of reason for my new chapter. She's getting ready to start hers in August.
Oh my gosh. Wow. Yeah, great idea. Big plan. It sounds like everything's going to work out great.
I hope so. Thank you.
You're welcome. And by the way, I really mean that too. I mean, we have a certain number of PhDs that we teach, but we have enormous respect for practitioners. So, I mean, we have instructors who are teaching our capstone courses because of their years of experience. We respect experience in the COB. So if you have worthwhile skills and you would like to do something like what I do, there's an open door. So just throw that out for you one day. It might be something you might want to consider.
Thank you.
Erica, would you please introduce yourself?
Hi, everyone. I'm Erica Bartlett. I am actually originally from Monterrey, Mexico, but have lived in Hickory, North Carolina for 24 years now. I am currently the Chief Experience Officer at Greystone Eye. It's a large ophthalmology practice that is in 4 locations. So we have 300 plus employees. I oversee a lot of the operations. My title is different, but it is more like Chief Operating Officer. So really my goal for the MBA that I started actually about 2 years ago already, I'm taking it easy because I do have a very demanding job. My goal is really just to give more value to my role and be able to support the different departments that I have at a higher level, because I was given the opportunity to jump into the role, but I felt like I needed to really get more in depth into the topics and the growth that I can offer.
Sometimes it's the only way. It's the only direction, straight ahead, and you've got to go clear to the other side. That's outstanding. Well, I've got to ask, who is the picture behind you?
I don't know who the picture is. I know it was done by Velasquez. I inherited that from my uncle, who was a lover of art, and he got that at the Prado Museum in Spain. So I have 3 of them, and that is a Velasquez. So
yeah, I know something of art, and I'm just dying to know who that is. So
I think it's one of the similar, like Sancho Panza and them, but it's similar from that line, I guess. From
well, I'll stay up tonight trying to figure it out. Morgan, if you would please introduce yourself.
Absolutely. Hey, everybody. My name is Morgan Sudrith. I live in a cute little town called Spruce Pine, North Carolina. I'm just a little bit south of Boone. It's everybody loves us down here. I received my undergrad from Lees McRae in Banner Elk, and that was 17 years ago. So this is always hard to come back to school just a little bit. There's a small learning curve. I do work full time. I'm the director for the Small Business Center at Mayland Community College. So I serve Mitchell, Yancey, and Avery counties in helping entrepreneurs who want to start small businesses. I do some consultations and client counsels. I teach a few classes myself on, how to start small businesses, business plans, marketing. and things of that nature. So an MBA was a lifelong dream. My daughter just graduated WCOB last May. And so once we got her done, it was time for Mama to come back to school. So here I am. So it's fabulous. I'm happy to be here amongst an elite group of people with the same mission in mind. So my background, I spent 17 years in banking and finance too. So I mean, that's kind of my background. And then I'm also a part-time real estate agent. That's my fun job. I do that for a hobby. So yeah, I'm all over the place, a wealth of knowledge.
Wow. Grass does not grow under your feet. Congratulations.
Not at all. Not at all.
Nathan, if you would please introduce yourself.
Sure. Can you hear me? Maybe.
Okay.
Okay. Hey, I'm Nathan Beckham. I am from Burnsville, North Carolina, down below Morgan. I am an administrative assistant at Bayland Community College in Spruce Pine. And I am looking to steer my way into the business office at Bayland. And they love their degree.
Got to freeze. You drop. I'm going to go ahead and move on. I'm going to put a message to Nathan. Somehow it's frozen up.
It's froze on my end as well. I think for everybody's.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, we'll go ahead and move on. Let's see if we've defrozen. Emma, would you please introduce yourself?
Hi, I am Emma Shell, and like Caroline, I'm actually in the dual degree program with the MHA, so we know each other already. And I'm also working full-time while doing this full-time online. I work at UNC Health Caldwell in Lenoir, and I am the marketing communication coordinator there. Coming back to school after I got my undergraduate degree in 2020 at UNC Chapel Hill.
So you're going right from your undergraduate to a graduate degree.
Yeah, I have to have it in order to progress into a manager role at my work. So I decided to just go ahead and get it done
No time like the present.
while I don't have other like jobs and kids and things like that, because it's a lot harder.
It's I don't know which is better or worse, whether to go as a fifth year and you continue with your undergraduate or get a few years under your belt and get more experience. I've yet to see where the curve is that says one is better than the other. All I know is that when its time is right, do it. So that's what it seems like.
Luckily, I did have a little bit of experience before I started, so that did kind of help. But COVID kind of made the decision also because everything went very virtual, so it was easier in my mind.
Awesome. Ashley, if you would please introduce yourself.
Sure. My name is Ashley Eccles, and I am originally from Roanoke, Virginia. I earned my undergrad from Radford University, and I graduated a million years ago, which was also known as 2003. I've been working at Blue Cross Blue Shield of North Carolina since 2005, and I work specifically with federal employee policies, as someone said they're a federal employee. So if you have Blue Cross Blue Shield of North Carolina,
I know you.
I'm just kidding.
Yes,
I won't.
I do.
I was say we're gonna be best friends.
I was gonna say, if you got questions, let me know. But I've been doing it for a really long time. I have my hand in a lot of different pots at work. I work virtually. I got off of work 15 minutes before this call. And so, but I wanted to go back and earn a master's degree because I wanted to do it when I first graduated from Radford, and I waited for no good reason. But now that I've been in my current role for a million years, and I'm talking with people from different areas of the company, sometimes I can kind of feel what I don't know, and I want to be able to communicate better and more effectively, and because I have a lot to say and they actually listen. So I just want to be able to communicate better and get things done. But
It's
yeah,
amazing how your world's going to open up when you put that MBA at the end of your.
I look forward to it.
Nice on your card. It'll feel good. Good luck. Great.
Thank you. Thank you.
Layla, would you introduce yourself?
Hi, I'm Layla. I currently live in Boone, and I'm pursuing MBA and applied data analytics programs. And I'm graduating this semester. And actually, just a couple hours ago, I found out that I was admitted to a PhD program at Virginia Tech. It's
Awesome.
yeah, it's a PhD in business information technology. I'm just super excited about it. I'm so elated. I still cannot believe that it happened because that was my top choice program. So that's what I'm gonna do for the next 4 to 5 years. I'm gonna do research, how technology can improve operations and supply chain. I think my first project is gonna be about how text analytics can be used for supply chain risk management. And I'm just so excited, cannot wait to start.
You are in a wide open field. That is a great field to be in right now because my specialty is channel strategy, and I work a lot with Dinesh, Dr. Dave. So yeah, congratulations. That's great. Good for you.
Thank you so much.
You bet. Is it Lathan? Is that right? Lathan, would you introduce
Yes, sir. That's correct. I'm Lathan. I'm from King, North Carolina, so probably 20 minutes north of Winston. I am dual enrolled. I started at App State, I guess, in 2018. Got construction management undergrad, graduated in 2022. Got on renovating Lees McRae as a field engineer with Bloom Construction, same people that I did my internship with. So I do that full time as well as an online, well, I guess it'd be hybrid student because I'm in person and online for the MBA program. And then I'm also part of sustainable building design and construction.
Wow.
So my
Wow,
plate's too for my own good.
You got a great field to be in. Where would you like to go? Or you're not that happy with it?
I mean, it's construction. So
Yeah.
my intent would be to lean towards the project management side, which I don't need an MBA for. But
Yeah.
throughout my time here, I've been able to get my CAPM, so that's a project management certificate.
Right.
And I'm actually taking this semester one for to be commercial construction industry finance professional.
Yeah.
So I've had a lot of opportunities come up throughout both programs.
Well,
I guess my intent would be the business development side, perhaps, as opposed to operations and maintenance, because I kind of caught on that all of our VPs on the BD side have their MBA from Wake. Now the
Yeah.
company put them through it, and I'm jumping ahead. That was kind of my intent. I saw where they all went and got ahead of it because I had the opportunity to renovate Lees McRae. I begged to be on that for better part of a year.
well, there's something to be said for the student who plows their own ground instead of waiting for somebody to help them. So,
They're not going to help me.
well, that's what I meant. You help yourself.
Absolutely.
In the end, when the thing that you really want comes along, you know how to say goodbye in a constructive
Most
manner.
definitely. I've already accepted my offer for the Asheville office, so I got out of Winston. That's the first step.
Awesome. Great. Is it Chalin Bryant? Is that right?
Yes, sir.
I can't believe I got it right.
You
Okay.
did. Most of my professors don't, so that was good. Thank you.
Welcome.
Hi everybody. My name is Chalin Bryant, and I'm from Hamptonville, North Carolina, which is like an hour down the mountain from Boone. I'm pretty close to Winston-Salem. I think he said he was like 20 minutes past Winston. So I actually graduated in 2023 with my undergrad in digital marketing from Appalachian State. And then I just decided to go ahead and start with my MBA. So I started with my MBA this past fall. Yes, this past fall. And then since then, I've been working at Farm Credit as a marketing coordinator.
Awesome. Where would you like to go?
I just kind of went straight from, like I said, my undergrad to my MBA. I only did my undergrad in 3 years. So my parents promised me 4 years of school. So I went ahead and took that fourth year that they promised me. And then the rest of it's on me, but I wanted to go ahead and take advantage of that fourth year. So I just figured it would be good to go ahead and get it under my belt.
That is, all I could say is clever girl. Very good. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Welcome. is it Bevan or Bevan? I don't want to pronounce it wrong.
Seven. You actually got it though.
Oh, correct.
Hey guys, my name is Fevin Iglesias. I'm from Eritrea. It's a country in East Africa, but I've been living in Charlotte, North Carolina for about 11 years, I think. 11 or 12, something like that. I recently graduated from App State with a management grad degree, and this is my second semester in the MBA with concentration in interdisciplinary business. I am a full-time student, but I'm also looking for a job right now.
You will find one, no doubt about it.
Hopefully.
Impressive resume. No, you will. I mean, that's what we're here for. And go to career services as well. The market's good right now. I can tell you, anyone who's looking, it's a good place to be right now. So
I will. Thank you.
And by the way, all of you, one of my big things is I had professors who helped me, and I can't pay them back, so I pay it forward. If there's anything I can do for you in your career, you let me know. All right. I write recommendation letters all the time. Nathan, you want to jump back in and finish your introduction?
Sure, maybe this time it will not freeze. No, what I was saying, so I'm Nathan Beckham. I live in Burnsville, North Carolina. It's right down below Morgan and Spruce Pine. I'm an admin assistant to the VP of Instruction at Mayland Community College. I want to use this degree to get into the business office over there. They're big on degrees, even if you have experience, so they're more towards that. So that's hopefully I get there, maybe be a CFO one day. Yeah.
That's great. Well, congratulations. Good luck. Johnny, if you would please introduce yourself.
Yes, my name is Johnny Knight. I live in Salisbury, North Carolina. I got my undergrad from Catawba College here locally. This is my second semester with App. I work as a production manager for MatCore Metal Fab. It's in the Greensboro area. So I have 8 direct reports and roughly 250 indirect reports across 3 shifts, 7 days a week, wide open.
Wow. So what do you want to do with your MBA then, John?
I'm looking for general management, plant management would be my next steps that I'll be looking for. I think the MBA would assist in that.
And yeah, I have several MBAs. I am also director of professional education, and I know of a couple of people over at American and Eford, and who are exactly like you. They're App State graduates and their MBAs, and there's plenty of industry in North Carolina who's looking for you. So you ought to find a place. Good luck.
Thank you.
Allison, if you would please introduce yourself.
Hi there, how are you? I'm Allison. I am getting my MBA and hope to graduate in December. I currently own my own business. The business that I did my internship with you Dr. Schaus, and that I came and spoke in your class about, I now own 70% of as of January 1. So that is what I am doing full time, and then doing this part full time also.
You still employing your mom? I mean, you're letting her work there, or?
Yeah, so we decided she was going to take 30% of it and I was going to take 70%. And so we're complete different LLCs now. And so I have my own LLC, completely run 70% of the business, and she kept about 30% just so she didn't have to fully retire yet. Yeah, so the business, my stepmom's an artist, and we print her art on, also, will you hand me that? The cow. She paints animals, and we print her art on all sorts of things: tea towels, tote bags, stickers, magnets, mugs, signs, all types of things, and sell at retail and wholesale across the world. This is one of her cows that she's painted. So she's painted animals. You've probably seen similar things. Thank you. In like Hobby Lobby, TJ Maxx, Home Goods, Marshalls, Kirkland's, Pier 1. Tuesday morning, she has her art license there. So my hometown is Morganton, but I just moved to Raleigh and brought the business with me. I decided to do the MBA before we determined that I was going to take over part of the business. So my hopes with the MBA is to possibly one day teach. I had the pleasure of speaking in Dr. Shao's class last February, and I loved it. And so I would love to eventually get into teaching, even if it's just part-time for fun.
Oh, like I said, the door is open anytime, I mean, absolutely.
Let me
Yeah,
win.
Allison, the students just loved her because it's great to see such success. It is. It makes a teacher feel like it's, what's the reason we've been doing all of this? It's just great to see you students just succeed. I mean, I don't know any other way to say it. So welcome. Good to see you again.
Thanks. Good to see you again.
So, Emma, would you please introduce yourself?
I already did.
Oh, I'm sorry. Morgan, excuse me. I'm running out. I can't remember who now. Who have I not introduced? I
was like, I'll go again, but I've already did it.
Okay. Did I get to everybody? I guess is the last question. Okay. So, Allison put up her website. It's Hippie Hound Studios. Go to it. It's an awesome website. So, all right. So good. I'm glad everybody had a chance to introduce themselves. So thank you very much. I wish you all the best. You've had a good start. And as I said, we're going to be moving along now. And I want to talk about the process of innovation. By the way, before I go on any further, I am recording this and these sessions are available for you anytime when you need to review. You're going to be working now into an area of discussion where you're going to be trying to come up with new processes, new understandings, new ways of thinking. And this particular article is a very good one because I want you to think of the major developments during your own lifetime. During mine, they were considerable. I can think of microwaves. I can think of computers. I can think of the internet. I can think of the smartphone. These are all major innovations that have come along. And I want you to understand that it's a very important thing for you to reflect on is that innovation is not invention, all right? Innovation, the thing that drives greatness, is not merely a mechanical process. Innovation is much deeper. Innovation is a sociological event. This article was written by Thomas Robertson in 1967. It seems like such a long way away, but it was. But this was an article in the Journal of Marketing, and this is what we call a think piece, all right? This is just an article that was done with a certain amount of research in which Thomas Robertson thought about innovation and kind of put together an understanding of it. So I actually have this book by the economist Joseph Schumpeter, and what this whole article states is that innovation is different from invention because it is more than just simply a new product. Innovation is the construction of new plants and equipment. It is the introduction of new firms, and it is the rise of new leadership. Innovation, and this is an important point, is a discontinuous event. And what a discontinuous event is it's a before and an after, excuse me. So a great anthropologist, H.G. Bartlett, said that innovation is a basis for cultural change. And that innovation in this article is any thought, behavior, or thing that is new because it is qualitative different from existing forms. Innovation is what keeps the people of Google up at night to where they can't sleep because they're waiting for the next person to come along and cut their knees out from under them and take away their part forever. Has it happened before? Yes. In 2007, Microsoft had 92% of all of the operating systems on every computer system in the world. As of now, Microsoft owns about a third of all of the operating systems on every machine across the world. What happened? Well, in 2008, this little company called Apple came around with this thingy called an iPad. And the iPad, in essence, changed the platforms in which operating systems come on, and Microsoft was left with their hands in their pockets while the Apple came along and stole the market, and has never been the same since. This is what makes innovation so unique. It brings the rise of new thought. It brings the rise of new industrialists, and it brings the rise of change. And so that's what I want you to understand. Also understand this is that innovation is a process by which a behavior thing, which is qualitative and different, is conceived of and brought to reality. Now, I'm not going to worry about all the other parts of this, about how they perceive it and how it goes about, but this is this part where it says the framework for classifying innovations is the part that I want you to understand, because you'll find this in just about every marketing journal, and it's an important idea that I want you to get a hold of. There are three types of innovations. There are continuous innovations, there are dynamically continuous innovations, and discontinuous innovations. And he's the one that came up with the classification, and you will find this in every Principles of Marketing book that ever talked about new product development. A continuous innovation is the least disruptive of established patterns. It is the alteration of a product, but it does not establish a new product. If I were to equate these to strategies, I would look at Samsung very closely. Samsung is a corporation whose marketing strategy is based around continuous innovation, the constant reinventing of, in small functions, the current devices that they have at the moment. I have right here, I have a Samsung, the 22. Right after about the 22, the 23 came out, and the 24, and I can't use what I have now. Why would I buy another? But that is the nature of Samsung. Samsung relies on continuous innovations, and in a marketing strategy concept, what it does is it creates barriers of entry, because as soon as corporations match them, they simply change the floor and start over again. A dynamically continuous innovation has more disrupting elements than continuous, but it does generally have established patterns. This is generally what you would also call disruptive technologies. Generally, when you have 2 or 3 technologies that kind of mind meld together and create new products that may not have existed before. So Philippe Kahn, who was the creator of Borland Pascal, which was an operating system in the 80s, tried to fight Microsoft in the 90s, went bankrupt, created a little electronic device that actually took pictures and videos in an electronic or a digital format. Well, the camera phone was not quite there yet, but it was Philippe Kahn's invention of putting a camera on a phone that ultimately mind melded together to create what we have as a smartphone now, and the world is never the same. So if you look at your smartphone, you have a camera, you have a video recorder. It takes the natural stuff. You can phone people on it. You have text messages on it, but it's even more than that. I don't know about you, but when I lose my glasses at night, this is how I find it, with my phone. All of these come together to create a disruptive event that changes the way. It also requires a certain higher level of education to be able to understand how to use it. The third event is a discontinuous innovation that involves the establishment of a new paradigm, a new product, a new behavior pattern. What usually happens at this point is that it is enormous amount of education that is required to be able to use this particular product. If you see a particular technology that is being marketed, and a lot of that is, this is how you use it, you know it is what's known as a discontinuous event. Microwaves actually only came out in the 70s. A great deal of microwave commercials in the 70s had to do with how do you use it. And believe it or not, back then, they actually thought you could cook a turkey in the microwave. They found out that it turned into a saddlebag after about 30 minutes. But that's all part of the education, all right? So, as I've said, in my lifetime, the discontinuous events, no doubt, have been microwaves, of course, microcomputers, because computers have been around, the internet, of course, in 2000, and I definitely feel like not just the cell phone, but the smartphone has fundamentally changed anything. I could spend hours just talking about the omni-channel, all right? Okay, so I'm going to run quickly on this part about how the diffusion process works and talk about the individuals that are in the adopter categories. And I won't talk much further than this on this article. It's a great article. I urge you to spend time reading this because it's really one of the best. He just thought it up one day. Really amazing stuff. So what Robertson contends, and with other research that came up, he found that innovation requires a diffusion process. In other words, like the ripples of a wave. Diffusion of innovation occurs in a standard pattern. It can literally be overnight, or it can take years, but the innovation happens relatively in the same way. And so how does this happen? If you look at this curve here, all right, the curve gives you the percentages and the numbers as to the relative groups and how they go about adopting. So the first 2.5% are the innovators. The innovators are generally college educated or higher. They generally have upper level, their upper income with disposable income. They tend to be individuals who are very easily wishing to get what is considered to be the latest and the greatest, regardless of whether it lasts or not. So the innovators are a good group to start with, but they're not the really substantial group, the one that we want to be able to attract. The early adopters, they're the groups that tend to be more specialized in their thinking and looking for practical solutions. They tend to be, once again, in the same group, they tend to be middle to upper income and college educated, but they tend to be more practical and are looking for distinct advantages in the particular items in which they're wishing to be able to invest their money in. The early majority, by the time the early majority gets it, the product has been established and been well respected at that point. Who does the early majority look to for vision as to the product's acceptance? They look to the early adopters. So the early majority tend to look at the early adopters to see whether or not they think it's good, and then ultimately they believe it is good as well. It's kind of this different thing. It's hard to say. It is a pragmatic group, but they're looking for confirmation from a group that has already had it accepted. And so by the time it gets into the early majority, it has been established as an accepted part or product, and it grows, and it is generally brought to, it is in a mature market. The late majority basically are those individuals who are really looking for bargains. They've already got an established product. They may have one or two of these, they tend to be middle to lower income, that they very pragmatic in their purchases, and in essence, they are the individual groups that are at the mature phase of a product when it is accepted 100% wherever it is. The laggards are those individuals who will only accept the product if no other alternative is available. These are the individuals who still shave with straight razors. My father was one of those. He also still had his cell phone that was the old Nokias. I mean, he kept that thing until he wore the buttons out. But that is fine and acceptable for them. And so when you're looking at this diffusion process, the kind of things that I want to tell you to note is, and this is once again an important part of strategy, is that the innovators are going to come in with you, but it's the early adopters that are the most important group to bring acceptance of any innovation. If you can find the magic that brings the early adopters in, then ultimately that you provide them satisfaction, then the early majority comes along and you have a very successful product. So I'm going to just leave it with that. I think this is a brilliant article. I just wanted to touch base on those. And, you know, there are things that he talks about, like that you can actually program an innovation to happen. And you can talk to Microsoft about that, and they can tell you, yes, darn it, and we missed it. But I'll just leave it at there. So this is by Thomas Robertson, 1967. It's a great article. I urge you in your time to read this article and conceive once again, the thing that I want you to understand is that innovation is more than just a new product. Innovation changes things. And when you're thinking of market strategies, think about how you innovate, okay? All right. Okay. So, one of the important tools that I hope for all of you to learn tonight, because this will be the start, I'm going to put you into groups. And one of the things that I want you to do is to introduce one of the most important tools that you, I'm sure that you may have already had, but I want to reintroduce to you, and that is a SWOT analysis. So has anybody done a SWOT yet? Anybody? Okay, yeah, look, you're in an MBA class, you're gonna get swatted to death, okay? I mean, so get used to it. You're gonna hear it again, like you've heard it before. So here we go. So I don't know if you know this, but the SWOT came from Stanford in 1962. It was used by a professor there to be able to categorize important events in any discussion. And why is the SWOT analysis still used 60 years later? There's only one reason why. A SWOT analysis is useful, all right? A SWOT analysis allows you to categorize events and understand them in a clear and unambiguous form. And that's why, as I said, we do SWOT analysis till we're blue in the face. So let me just go quickly over some SWOT analysis facts so that we can all see them again. So SWOT analysis means, as we all know, strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. The strengths and weaknesses are internal to the corporation. The opportunities and threats are external. Strengths and weaknesses are microeconomic. Opportunities and threats are macroeconomic, okay? So the strengths and weaknesses are what goes on inside your company, and the opportunities and the threats are the ones that happen outside. The big question when you're trying to be able to decide what is a strength or a weakness or an opportunity threat, the first question you can answer is, can I control it? If I can't control it, then it is something that is happening outside my corporation, and then it is, other than that, an opportunity and a threat. So the strengths of a SWOT are the initiatives that you perform well in. Those things that you do efficiently, that bring value to your corporation. And so if you look at these questions, it's basic ones. Do we do something well? What is unique? Do we satisfy our target audience? In what ways do we beat our competitors? Those are our strengths. Weaknesses are the exact opposite, where we are underperforming. It's important to realize sometimes a strength is a weakness at the same time, all right? If the strength limits your ability to be able to pursue new knowledge, then perhaps it's not a strength. It might be considered a weakness. So you think, where do you underperform? Well, how can you improve? Do I have the resources that I'm not using effectively that I could use in some other way? And where do we rank in our competitors? Are we a flanker corporation in which we have just a small piece, or do we want to be the second or the highest in our particular group? Outside of the organization, the things that we have no control over are the opportunities and the threats. Opportunities in the SWOT result from your existing strengths and weaknesses, but along with any initiatives that are coming along that we can take advantage of. Realize if we do not have the resources and the capabilities to pursue, then it's not an opportunity. If there is a gap in a service that we can provide, that we have the ability to perform, then that is an opportunity. And then finally, for threats, the threats are those things that can literally put you out of business tomorrow. They are out of your control. They can be anything from, of course, the global pandemic to the change of the landscape. During the pandemic between 1920 and 1922, 180,000 restaurants closed across the United States. Restaurants tend to be mom and pops. They tend to be family members. It is one of the most unreported disasters that happened during the pandemic. And the threat, the lack of people just coming into their place to eat, took out a lot of restaurants and they never came back. And so that's an example of how deadly a threat can be. And so if I were to wrap those up, if you wanted to take a little picture of that, go ahead. But that's basics of a SWOT analysis, and how you go about doing it, we're going to talk about in just a minute. So online on As You Learn, we have an article that I am wishing you to go look at, and it's this article here. And where it is online, excuse me, I will show you. Let's see. No, this will actually be online. So this will be on a, let's see, where is it located? Sorry. Turn that off.
Sorry, I guess I can talk. I don't have to type it all. I meant the SWOT analysis. That's not our textbook, right?
That's correct.
Okay.
That's right. This is outside of your textbook. I apologize.
Okay.
Yes. Okay. So if you go to a company, let's see, excuse me, getting behind myself. This right here where it says in class case, can Daniel Deeds turn Martha Stewart around? I would like for you all to look at this, please. Go ahead and click on that. And what you're going to be bringing up is going to be bringing up this article. Now, this is an article, 2014, and it was in Business Week magazine. This is nothing fancy about this article, but this article is a great place to start from learning how to do a SWOT analysis, okay? There are a lot of signals in this particular article that are telling you what is wrong with Martha Stewart, the corporation at this time. This article is about 5 pages long or whatever. And what I'm going to ask you to do is I'm going to ask you to be able to get into your groups, and I want you to do a quick SWOT analysis with this particular article. So if you look at this particular, if you look at this paragraph right here, the CEO office, I want you to do a process that is known as diagnosis and synthesis. Diagnosis means to take apart. It is a Latin word. And so what you will do in your groups or by yourself is do exactly what I've done with this particular paragraph, but do it for the whole article. The process known as diagnosis means to take apart. The process known as synthesis means to put together. And so what I wish you to do with this article in your groups is I want you to pull the relative facts, take them as I did there, and I want you to decide whether they are strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, or threats, okay? And then we'll spend about 15, 20 minutes together, you and your groups. And then after that, we're going to get together and talk about the SWOT. I'd like each group to be able to discuss what they consider to be the ultimate issues here. So, who are the groups? The groups are right here. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to separate you into your groups online. So I'll put you into group sessions. I'd like you to just say hello to each other again, exchange emails, and recognize that these will be the groups you're in. I will send you this email tomorrow so that you'll be able to know where you are, okay? All right, so what I will do now is I will start to put you into your groups. So excuse me. And here we go. This is what are called breakout rooms. So forgive me, I'm not real fancy of this, so it'll take me a little bit of time to get this right. Okay. So let's see, second line. Okay. 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 So third group, Jason, Ashley, Johnny, Robin, okay, 4, Deanna, Paris, Layla, oops, Layla, 4. Let's see. Group B. B. No. Okay. And let's see. Pass. Bryant. Marcus. Okay. And let's see. Who did I lose? Let's see. Let's see. So let's see. I think I've got everybody assigned. So I might have to swap some people around. So let's see. I'm going to open all the rooms and I'll see. Okay, let's see. Morgan. Where does Morgan go?
Oh, it looks like I'm not assigned either.
What's that?
But it looks like I may have missed my assignment as well.
I've got, yeah, I'm looking where I'm supposed to put you, and I'm trying to find my place. Okay, wait, there, Kelsey. Kelsey is in group. Okay. There 4. Okay, there you go. And Morgan, where do you go?
I was thinking it was group E. I looked really fast.
Oh, yeah, okay, yeah, because your last name is Morgan Wood here. Okay.
Yeah,
All right.
sorry. Yeah, yeah.
All right, there you go.
Thank you.
You're welcome. All right.
Absolutely.
Yeah, go ahead. Sure.
Yeah. So we didn't like just put it like you as a paragraph. We went ahead and started listing the strengths and weaknesses. We only found a couple of strengths in this case, which is number one, Martha Stewart brand is a no name. It's a brand that there can still be some advantages in continuing. Another strength is the successful career that the incoming CEO has had. It's been very creative in negotiating different things. And like Luke mentioned earlier, was the fact that he lost his job. It was really just because of the way the steel industry was going. But he had some success in his career. Another strength was the resiliency from Martha Stewart. She's been able to shift focus, shift her image, and is open to that. We'll talk about the weaknesses that may affect that resiliency. But so those are the 3 strengths that we found. As far as weaknesses, it sounds like she's very focused on just her circle of friends. So one example is the fact that they trimmed out the marketing department, but not really her friends, and continued to pay the big dollars to that group of people. There's definitely a problem with the culture organizationally. And then the fact that there's no exit strategy. I mean, her daughter was an opportunity there, but she left, and there is no exit strategy at the time, or at the time of the article.
Yeah, yeah, those are big ones. What did they call the group or the friend? What did they call them?
Martha's Friends, I think.
Yeah, the
was
friends
the
of Martha. Yeah,
Friends of Martha. That's it.
right. Did anybody have in their discussion about Lisa Gersh, who had co-founded Oxygen, who only lasted 5 months on the job?
Oh, no.
That
Mhm.
is
No, I missed that.
Yeah, Lisa Gersh, she created Oxygen. She was CEO and she walked away after 5 months. That is an incredible admission of incompetence on someone's part. And another critical fact, if you look up here, is that in the first paragraph, the CEO office sat empty for nearly 10 months. Who can't find a CEO? I mean, that is you're showing some very huge organizational issues with that.
Yeah,
And
an extremely toxic culture, definitely.
Yeah, I agree with absolutely. Anyone please free jump in. Any other suggestions about weaknesses?
For weaknesses, we put that like just being linked to a human is not a great thing for a company because you can't really predict or quantify what they're going to do, and you can't really limit their humanity, for lack of a better term.
Yeah, it's one of the things when you have an iconic leader, good, bad, or indifferent, it does tend to, you move everybody in a certain direction. Larry, you raised your hand. What you got?
I did. So we discussed financial losses, the declining stock value. If you have stockholders in a company, that's going to be one of the main things they look at. And with over $1 billion lost in value since 2005, I think that's definitely a huge weakness.
Yeah. Oh my God. Yes. So I'm one of those people that takes numbers and like if you go back in the first paragraph, 22, MSLO lost $56 million on 197 million in sales. I take that, add the $56 million to it, and that tells me I have something like $233 million in expenses. What's going on? I mean, that's a big one. Allison, you've got your hand
Well,
raised.
and part of that might be their, oh, I'm sorry. I'll wait my turn.
Go right ahead.
No, I was just saying that one of the things we noted was that intangible license or agreement where they just seem to be on the hook for covering her expenses without having that defined. So that seemed like a big weakness because we were talking about they're bleeding money, but they seem to have no limit on what they're paying her for.
That's yes.
Absolutely.
You go ahead,
One
Allison.
weakness I noticed is how the new CEO, he has no experience in media, yet my group had pointed out his very first wave of layoffs was pretty much primarily in media.
Very good point. Very good point. What did they call him? What is he?
He's also one of her friends, as the article points out. That was we pointed that we were going to point that out in our threats section. That was still one of their largest problems, was that he fired all or a lot of the marketing people, but kept her friends and their lavish salaries than he himself as a friend. And when you get into the whole, she's highly influential with the public while simultaneously being on its lower end of the scale in trustworthiness, according to Rob Levy's point of view, which I kind of agree with. That whole birds of a feather saying that applies to if you are willing to do insider trading, more than likely your whole group of friends and the new CEO is. So that's a big potential problem.
Right.
For her. And
I'm sorry. Go ahead. Finish it.
Oh, no, you're fine. Just what I was going to say, the economy, nobody, like you talked about with everybody they had lost a lot of money. As the economy keeps dipping and taking swings, people are not really willing to pay for Martha Stewart cookbooks and overpriced kitchen accessories, whereas they can get the same things from the dollar store or for free information then off of YouTube and Instagram, Pinterest, things like that. The rise of the influencer has really given her business a hit.
I think that's a great point. The influencer has completely knocked the table right out from under her. Allison, did you get a chance to state what you wanted to state?
Yes, sir, I did. I was just going to point out the media thing.
Okay, all right, cool. Ashley, you have your hand raised. What you've got?
Well, just kind of taking all of these things into consideration, and the fact that she doesn't apologize for anything. She surrounds herself with her friends. She's trying to do a lifestyle brand, but she went to prison, so it might be difficult for people to take advice about their lifestyle from someone who went to prison. So and yet she still has kind of a level of arrogance about her as well by underestimating influencers and things like that. So I think it kind of bleeds into all aspects of the business.
I totally agree. I mean, and I do. And you know, with all of the dark clouds, I mean, if you go down and you look at some of the traffic on her website is enormous. 7.2 million unique visitors in November of 2011. I mean, of November of, so they've had a 50% increase in traffic, or nearly 100%, I should say. And yet they're not minting this, you know, enormous, you know, potential out of their website. And so that's also true as well. A couple other things I'm just going to point. Where is it? So her Martha's daughter, $407,000 to co-host a television show. Alexis is 48. How, I mean, with no disrespect intended, could she even relate to your generation? I mean, that's another issue. And so, yeah, and in terms of arrogance, who are these bloggers? They're not trained editors at Vogue magazine. They're bloggers writing recipes that aren't tested, aren't necessarily good. I totally agree with that whole thing. You know, it's like, come on. Emma, you have your hand raised.
Also just like I'd also could add this, it's not at the time of the article, it's more of a recent, but they have a good strength of the company is they've actually repositioned Martha's brand a little bit to focus on younger generations in her partnership with Snoop Dogg. And the stock has actually gone up. I'm looking at it, it's at like $19 now. So it's not bounced all the way back up, but I do think they've done a really good job at like at least being more strategic and adapting to the new audiences that they have.
We talked about that in our group as well, but I feel like the younger crowd that they bring in with the attraction with Snoop Dogg, which is great, diversify your consumer base, but they're probably not interested in tablescapes and recipes. So it's just a different market, basically.
Yeah, it's a conundrum.
But I think that could be an opportunity. You know, I mean, it's definitely an opportunity because whereas it might not attract a lot of the younger generations, they're more on the, you know, more organic things and growing their vegetable gardens and doing these. And that's what I think that's what she's trying to really get to. So I think the diversification is really an opportunity there, even though her image is still kind of.
She has to be. So we've got this idea. So we diagnose these, we pull these things out and we put them together. And so if we're marketing strategists and we're coming up with an answer where the problem is, the problem with Martha Stewart is
Martha Stewart.
Yeah, Martha.
was wanting you to say
That's what I was gonna say too.
We had actually discussed that the opportunities that if she moved served more as a figurehead than an actual decision maker, they would be in a lot better shape. But that would be an extremely good opportunity for them to
Needs
take
to move
over.
away.
Mm.
And I'm
so
sorry,
you think-
another comment?
I was going to say something,
Oh,
Dr.
sorry. I was gonna
Shells.
say, you think about it with the younger generations. Oh, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
Okay.
Go. You start.
I
I'm
was
going
gonna
to let
say,
you finish.
I was gonna say, and you think about it too, there's a lot of younger generation who have absolutely no idea who Martha Stewart is. They weren't born when she went to prison. They have no idea what she's known for.
Right.
But again, if they see Snoop Dogg and they're listening to rap, then they're like, oh, okay, I like her. And have no clue as to her background or where she actually come or her.
Exactly. And go ahead. Was that you were going to say, Nate? I'm sorry. Was there one more?
Yeah, that was me. So I was just going to make the statement. Sometimes the founders of an organization can only carry you so far, and then you have to diversify your executive team and ownership to get to the next level. Usually through acquisitions. I don't know if anybody's ever watched that show Super Pumped about how Uber came to market. You think about that, how the CEO there is really expanded and got to a certain level, and they said, "Hey, you're out." Right. So I think founders, for the most part, can only take you a certain distance, and then leadership change has to happen.
Yeah.
That's an excellent point.
Starbucks. Yeah, Starbucks was a little company in Seattle, and it was going blank. Who bought the company and spread it everywhere? That's Ray Kroc was not the original two McDonald's brothers, but he's the one that spread McDonald's across the world. I totally agree with that. So yes, and I agree. And you know, to be able to carry a name brand to the next generation can be very difficult. So the short end of the story is, since this was 2014, I can tell you what the future was. It didn't work. Eventually, she had to sell sold her interest for $92 million. So that was like 2 cents on the dollar for the stock that she had originally had. Now she's not hurting. She was removed from the board, and she is a spokesperson, and that's what she does well. And they are, in essence, relaunching with a whole new strategy. But this is this is what happened in the future when she tried this. So unfortunately, she couldn't get out of being a friend of Martha. And so Martha Stewart as a brand still exists, but Martha Stewart as a corporation, not so much.
Yeah.
So does anybody, any other comments, anything like that anymore? Well, I want to say I'm very impressed with all of you. You really got some good energy tonight. I know it's been a long one. This is really what marketing strategy is. We look at these kinds of things, we take them apart, we put the important facts together and just reason it out. And using things like SWOT analysis, situation analysis, which we'll talk about on our next session in a month or so, we are able to come up with a good, coherent understanding of where problems are. And that's kind of what I want you to use the SWOT analysis and all these others. These are efficient tools for helping you to think better, for the lack of a better word. Well, all right. I'm going to close everything unless, let's see, I have one more thing in the chat. Let's see. Marketing is fun. You're right. We are the fun group. Okay. Okay, I'm gonna really tell myself off now. I got into marketing as an undergraduate because it was the best party I've ever been in my life. It was 2 a.m. and I looked around and the party was still smoking, and I said, these are my people. All right. And so that's how I got into marketing. And yes, we try to have as much fun as we can. And it's really the nice stuff. It's an art form. And it's just a great place if you're very creative in your own personal thoughts. So thanks a lot, Larry. Appreciate it. And I've kept you far too long, and I hope you have a great night. I will post this and I will stay up till bleeding eyeballs to finish grading your papers, okay?
Thank you.
All right.
Thank you, sir. You ever have a good evening, everyone.
Have a good night.
Everybody have a good night, okay?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank
Bye.
you.
Bye.
Bye.